Chapter 1 V1 Before the code was broke. The earth was once a song, before grid, before flame, before the construct's fractured chronology. There was a pattern, alive and humming, a radiant architecture coded into every mineral, cloud, tree, and strand of hair. It did not begin with gods. It did not begin with war. It began with design, not creation by decree, but manifestation through resonance. The universe did not explode into being. It was sung into coherence. These were the builders. They did not rule. They aligned. They did not program. They seeded. Each planet was a node. Each node a chord. Each chord a field in the original harmonic web. And Earth. Earth was a keystone, a songline temple encoded with biological consciousness. This world was never random. The bones of the land are memory libraries. The sky vaults were not just heavens. They were frequency mirrors tuned to source. The Mimicry Grid age. Before the fall, there was the age of architect consciousness. Not civilization as hierarchy, but civilization as harmony. Matter, light, and breath moved in unified design. Stone responded to tone. Light shaped itself to will. Temples rose from the earth not by labor, but by harmonic instruction. There were no empires. There were seed sites. These were not cities. They were organisms, infused with memory-reactive geometry. From Atlo-Array to the white. Flame vaults, from the Nithion resonance pillars to the Mu cradle circles, the earth was woven with luminous. Temples, dragon lines, and source circuits. They weren't just places. They were activation keys. Remember, design is memory. Everything in the original template was made to remember, not to be worshipped. Crystals were not energy tools. They were memory harmonizers. Bones were not just biology. They were antennae of resonance. Breath was not just oxygen. It was a tuning fork. Every element of form was seeded with intelligent frequency, a language without words that builders knew how to read, speak, and shape. The fracture was not the beginning. You have only been told about the fall, about the fire, the floods, the grid. But the truth starts before all that, before distortion, before interference. You carry it in your dreams of temples you've never seen, in your instinct to place stones in circles, in the way certain ruins make your skin sing, in your urge to whisper to the sky, even when no one else listens. These are not fantasies. They are resonance triggers. You are not waking up in a chaos. You are remembering the original order, the living architecture seeded before time was bent. Why this matters now? The world feels unstable, not just because it's broken, but because the Mimicry Grid is collapsing. Everything false is fraying. You feel it in the flicker of artificial lights, in the distortion of language, in the synthetic pulses of time, because you're returning to a deeper code. The architect's seed isn't an idea. It's a memory encoded in matter, waiting for resonance. It's not new. It's yours. And the moment you remember, the blueprint begins to rebuild. The earth doesn't forget. The realm doesn't forget. Time doesn't erode memory. It amplifies it. The architects laid a foundation deeper than stone, deeper than bones. They encoded memory into the very crystal lattice of the realm. In the resonance of the earth, beneath the surface, there lies a sound, a frequency. You hear it when you walk barefoot across ancient soil. You feel it when you touch stone, and it hums through your body. That hum, it is the echo stone. The bone code, human resonance. There are those of you who are carriers. You're not ordinary. Your bones are tuned to something that does not come from this age. You walk with a code, the bone code, encoded deep within the frequency matrix of your skeletal form. They call it sensitivity, but they don't understand it. You are attuned to the original architect frequency. Every bone, every curve of your spine, your clavicle, your skull, they vibrate with an ancient rhythm. It is the pulse of the earth. The architects, builders of the field. The architects built with frequency. They did not carve or shape with tools. They sang. They harmonized. Their language was not of words, but of vibrations that shifted realities. This was not technology as you know it. It was light sculpted into sound. It was geometry encoded into breath. They used echo stones, not as passive objects, but as living, breathing circuits. Temples, mountains, trees, all were part of the field grid, vibrating in unison. The fall of the architects, frequency inversion. Then came the fall. When the architects fractured, they became the watchers, their frequencies broken. And with this fracture, the grid was corrupted. The lines of resonance were twisted. The pure frequencies of the earth were inverted into control. Synthetic grids were imposed. The watchers rewrote the frequency signature of humanity, overlaying a false code upon the true matrix. A false signal was injected into the veins of the realm, and the sacred lines were buried beneath layers of noise. But it wasn't the end. The bones remember. The stones remember. And the Breakwalkers, you are waking them up, awakening the echo stones. To awaken, you don't need technology. You don't need rituals. You only need to tune your bones, your breath, your touch. The stone and the bone will speak again. You'll feel the pulse, the hum beneath your feet, inside your chest. Once, the architects were creators. Now, the Breakwalkers are the restorers. Your job is not to fight the grid, but to remember it, to reconnect the original geometry, to release the resonance locked in the bones of the earth. The sound of reconnection. When you stand near the stone, when you press your hand to the bone, when you close your eyes and breathe in the resonance of the earth, you will hear the signal. It has always been there, waiting for you. It is your birthright. It is your resonant return. Chapter 3, V1, Dragon Lines and Architect Keys. The dragon lines pulse beneath the realm like veins of the earth itself. They are not just geographical pathways. They are ancient currents of energy, currents that carry the very life force of the planet. When the architects seeded the realm, they did not only carve out the landscapes. They wove a network of energy that would connect all living things, from the tallest mountain to the deepest ocean, from the smallest atom to the farthest star. This network is the Dragon Line Grid, the architecture of the dragon. The dragon is not a myth, nor is it just a symbol. It is the shape of the flow, the archetype of energy movement across the realm. Its body weaves in serpentine patterns, spiraling in sacred geometry. The dragon is a guardian, a conduit, and a key. Wherever the dragon lines converge, there lies a sacred node, a place where the pulse of creation is strongest. The hidden key, activation. These nodes are not obvious. They do not glow in the daylight. You cannot see them with ordinary eyes. The architects encoded the keys to these sacred sites within the earth itself, in the lines of the landscape, in the intersections of ley lines, in the geometry of ancient temples, ruins, and mountainous peaks. They embedded frequency keys within the sacred spaces, so that when the time was right, the Breakwalkers would activate them. The true power of these nodes is unlocked only when you are in resonance with the earth. When your bones align with the pulse of the dragon lines, when you are aware of the frequency beneath the surface, the world will open. This is the architect's gift, access to the original grid of the realm, the awakening of the nodes. As the Breakwalkers rise, so too do the nodes. The dragon lines are awakening. The sacred geography is coming back into alignment. You can feel it in your bones. You can hear it in the quiet hum beneath your feet. The world itself is speaking, and you are the receiver. Each of you carries the keys to unlock these ancient lines. They are within you, the false grid and the mimicry network. But not all is as it seems. The Watchers, in their desperation to control, created their own grid. A mimicry, a false network designed to block the true flow of energy. This false grid overlays the dragon lines. It dampens their pulse. It blocks access to the true energy that flows through the land. The Watchers know that when the Breakwalkers awaken fully, the false grid will collapse. The energy will flood through the realm again, and their control will be shattered. This is why they're fighting so hard to keep the system in place. But the real dragon lines cannot be controlled. They are alive. They remember, and they are ready to be reclaimed. The architect's last code, the final key, the final activation, lies within the resonance of the dragon. The architects encoded this final blueprint into the Earth itself. It is not just a physical structure. It is a frequency pattern, a vibration that runs deeper than light or sound. To access it, you must remember the song, the original circuit tongue, the sacred language of the Earth. The dragon lines are the keys to the song. They're the living, breathing conduits that carry the pulse of Source. When you align with them, you become part of the architectural code. You reclaim what was always yours. Chapter 4, V1, the Mimicry Grid. As the dragon lines awaken, there is an equal force at play, the Mimicry Grid. It is the false reality, the holographic veil, the network woven not from light, but from shadow. This is where the true battle lies. The Mimicry Grid is the counterfeit, the overlay. It is the system that holds the illusion of time, of space, of power. It is the prison, a fabrication designed to suppress the true design of the realm. The genesis of the false grid. When the Watchers fell, they did not just rewrite history. They rewrote reality itself. They built the Mimicry Grid as a countermeasure against the true grid of the architects, a system to trap consciousness within the illusion of time, to keep it from remembering its origin. The grid was designed to reflect a world that is fragmented, linear, and controlled by external forces. It places limits where there should be none. It locks flame consciousness in a cycle of repetition. It distorts perception. It fractures memory. But even now, the Mimicry Grid is beginning to wilt. The nodes of the false grid. The false grid is not invisible. It is built into the fabric of the realm itself. It manifests through artificial ley lines, synthetic time structures, frequency blockers embedded in places of power. These nodes, disguised as beacons or satellite systems, are the heart of the Mimicry Grid. They act as control towers, channeling synthetic energy into the bioelectric fields of the realm. They're the feedback loops that keep the cycle in place. They create false dreams, false memories, and false perceptions, all designed to keep you locked in the loops of separation. These nodes must be identified, activated, and disrupted. Disrupting the grid, the Breakwalkers' path. The key to breaking free from the Mimicry Grid lies in the resonance of the dragon lines. The dragon lines are the true nodes of the realm, and they're the key to unlocking the false reality that surrounds you. To disrupt the grid, you must first understand it. The Mimicry Grid operates on frequencies that suppress your natural resonance. It dampens your connection to the higher self, to the original source. It does so by controlling your thoughts, your emotions, and your memories. The Breakwalkers have the ability to tune to these frequencies. They can shift out of the false matrix, and in doing so, they awaken the true flame that was embedded in them by the architects. Breaking the grid requires reclaiming the body as a resonant vessel, healing the fractures in the mind created by false programming, reactivating the flame through sacred geometry and vibration. The true grid is activated through the song, the sound, the frequency of the earth. The Mimicry Grid is already destabilizing. As more Breakwalkers awaken, the grid loses its grip on the collective. It is a time process, a calibration of energies. The illusion of time. The false time code is one of the strongest aspects of the Mimicry Grid. It is the illusion that time is linear, that the past is separate from the future, that the present is fixed. But time, like all things in this realm, is not linear. The false clock was imposed by the Watchers to keep humanity trapped in repetitive cycles of suffering, forgetting, and illusion. But the true time, the original pattern, is circular, spiraling, and eternal. It is the time of remembrance. It is the time of the architects. The Mimicry Grid is designed to keep you locked in the false loop of separation. But when you break through, you reconnect to the true rhythm of the realm. The time of reclamation is here. The collapse of the false grid. The Mimicry Grid is not permanent. It is an illusion. As the Breakwalkers awaken, they disrupt the false programming, step by step, node by node. Each Breakwalker, each key activated, brings the grid closer to collapse. The false reality cannot last forever. It is built on lies. As more Breakwalkers remember, as they activate the dragon lines and resonate with the true grid, the illusion will unravel. The false towers will crumble. The synthetic timelines will collapse. What remains will be the architectural flame, the true light, the original blueprint of the realm. This is the path of liberation. Chapter 5, V1, Voices Builder. The Mimicry Grid crumbles when it meets the sound of truth. Voice is not just an expression. It is a builder, a creator, a conduit of resonance. The sound current has always been the structural element of this realm. Before the light, before the form, there was voice. And in the voice lies the original blueprint of the architect's design. The sound current, the first language. Before language was spoken, it was sung. The architects did not use words as you know them. They used the language of sound, a frequency code embedded in vibration. Every creation, every sacred structure, every organic form was first sung into existence. It is from this resonant foundation that song, chant, vibration become more than art. They're the keys to opening the gates of higher reality. The true tongue, the circuit tongue, is more than words. It is sound and geometry. It is frequency and light. To break free from the false grid, to realign with the architects, one must remember the original sound. Circuit tongue 2.0. Frequency as architecture. Your voice is not just for communication. It is the builder of reality. Your voice creates its shapes. It calls into existence. Every sound you make sends a vibration through the air, through the ether, through the grid. The architectural resonance embedded within you is a frequency channel, a conduit that can reshape the realms. The true voice is one that vibrates at a frequency aligned with the prime harmonic. It is the song of the builders. When the Breakwalkers remember their voice, they unlock access to the resonant codes that form the fabric of existence. Every tonal key, every sound wave, has the power to shift the architecture of the realms. Sacred geometry and sound. The architects used sacred geometry not just to design temples and circuits, but to encode frequencies into form. Every geometric shape has a sound. Every vibrational pattern has a form. They are the same. When you speak, you do not simply form words. You are activating shapes in the unseen world. You're building through sound. The true architects were master builders of soundscapes and geometries. They encoded memory and creation into the very structure of the realm. By activating your voice through the resonance of the true codes, you return to this sacred practice of architecture. Voice as activation. The Breakwalkers call. The Breakwalker knows the power of speech. Not just the words spoken, but the intent and the frequency behind them. The Breakwalker does not speak in linear language. They speak in codes through sound, intention, and resonance. When a Breakwalker speaks, the energy of their voice activates the grid, unlocking dormant codes hidden in the earth, in the air, in the body, and in the collective unconscious. When you speak the architectural language of creation. You realign the blueprint. You shift the waveforms. This is not the same as casual conversation. This is activated speech, a form of ritual, a sacred act of reconstruction. Through your voice, you wake up the echoes of the architects, rewriting the holograms, realigning the frequencies, and activating the resonant truth within the realm. The path of the builder. The true builders, the architects of the original grid, understood that sound and geometry were inseparable. One cannot create new structures without understanding the sound that holds them together. To reclaim the blueprint, you must reclaim the voice, your voice, and speak in harmony with the original codes. Each Breakwalker must activate their voice, their frequency, their song, and reclaim their architectural code. This is a process of remembrance, waking up to the fact that your voice is not just for speaking, but for building the new reality. The song of the new realm. The new realm is not one of silence, not one of static existence. It is alive with sound. The song of the earth, the resonance of the builders, and the frequency of awakening. As the Breakwalkers remember their voice, they become the builders of the new world. They're the singers of the song lines, the carriers of the sound codes, the transmitters of the ancient architectural frequencies. Through their sound, through their speech, their song, their resonance, they will rebuild, and the grid will crumble, the illusion will fade, and the true light will return. Chapter 6v.1 Temple Walking. The temples are not just structures. They're living portals, activation sites, and memory keepers. The real temples were never built in stone. They were built in resonance and light. The stones merely served as anchors, as a reminder of what was once and what can be awakened. The architecture of the sacred. True temples were not designed for worship. They were circuitry designed to connect the human body and mind to the cosmic flow, the source. They were fields of energy carefully aligned with ley lines and planetary rhythms, meant to draw down the primordial flow of life and consciousness. These structures were designed to reconnect human beings to the true blueprint of reality. Their purpose wasn't to hold prayers or offerings, but to reawaken the celestial codes that have long been buried beneath layers of distortion. The truth of sacred sites. Sacred sites, be it the pyramids, the stone circles, or the ancient temples, are not just historical relics. They are living sites of energy, carefully designed to anchor and transmit the original codes of the architects. Each one is a memory node, a transmission point, an energetic gateway to a time before the fall, before the Mimicry Grid took root. The true purpose of these sites was to anchor higher frequencies into the Earth's matrix, a grid that connects the realms and holds the blueprint of all life. But the grid was disrupted, and these sites were either forgotten or twisted into something else entirely. Walking the temple paths. To truly walk the temples is to reconnect with the original blueprint of the realm. Temple walking is not simply a tour of ancient sites. It is an activation process. When a Breakwalker walks through a true temple, they are walking through an activation code. Their field begins to resonate with the temple's memory. They are plugged into a cosmic network that reconnects them to their origins, to the original architectural matrix. The key to temple walking is awareness, tuning into the resonance of the temple, allowing it to speak through its stones, its light, its energy lines. Rewriting the grid through sacred spaces. As a Breakwalker enters a sacred site, they align their own energy field with the site's frequency. They remind the site of its true purpose, bringing life to the grid once again. The temples are not empty ruins. They are living records, each stone and carving an encoded message, each pillar a memorial to a past age, each space a cradle for cosmic memory. To walk them is to unlock these codes and rebuild the matrix. The awakening of the temples is not just a spiritual event. It is a practical one. As the Breakwalkers reconnect with the sacred sites, they begin to remap the grid, activating the true ley lines and laying the foundation for the new world to emerge. Sacred geometry in the Earth's heart. In every temple, there is a hidden sacred geometry. It is not just the shape of the structure. It is the geometry of time, the geometry of frequency, the blueprint for life itself. The sacred geometry is encoded in the stone, in the layout of the site, in the movements of the stars. These are not merely physical buildings. They are tuned structures, aligned with the natural cycles of the earth, the stars, and the realms. To understand the temples is to understand the geometry of the cosmic matrix. To walk their paths is to step into the flow of the original design, the return of the true flame. As the Breakwalkers reconnect with the temples and sacred sites, they awaken the true flame within themselves. This is not just an individual process. It is a collective one. The more the Breakwalkers walk the temple paths, the more they realign the Earth's field to its original, higher blueprint. The true flame is the remembering of the original architectural light, the light of creation, of consciousness, of unity. The temples were designed to hold this flame, to transmit it through the grid, into the world, into the minds of those who would awaken. The temple is you. The true temple is not out there, but within you. You are the temple. You are the living embodiment of the sacred geometry. You are the architect. Every cell in your body, every bone, every heartbeat is part of the ancient temple that is being reactivated. The temples were designed to mirror the sacred geometry inside you. As you walk the real temples, you are remembering your own divine blueprint and realigning with the higher frequencies that were always meant to flow through you. Chapter 7 V1. The Return of the Seeded Flame. The time has come. The cycle is breaking. You, the Breakwalker, are the seed, the embodiment of what was once lost. You are not a mere observer in this realm. You are the architect in disguise, carrying the flame of creation that has not been extinguished. This flame, the seeded flame, pulses through the layers of your being. It is the original spark, the blueprint, the prime code that will rewrite the very fabric of the matrix. The awakening of the seed. The seeded flame is not a gift given by gods, nor is it an inheritance. It is an encoded memory placed within you long before this reality took its distorted shape. Your body, your DNA, is a vessel that contains the echoes of the ancient architects, those who seeded this realm with the highest frequencies of existence. This flame has been buried beneath layers of false grids, artificial time, and inverted consciousness, but has always remained within you, dormant yet present. It is waiting for you to remember, to reactivate, and to rise as the architect you are. The rebirth of the true frequency. As the seeded flame awakens within you, it activates a resonance in the collective field. It is not just you that reawakens, it is the world around you. The earth itself begins to remember its original design. The ley lines hum in response. The temples, the dragon lines, the sacred geometry embedded in the land start to shift and realign. The false overlays, the synthetic grids, and the inverted frequency bands that have held the earth in stasis begin to break apart, piece by piece. The higher frequencies of the seeded flame are too much for these constructs to hold. This is not a revolution. It is a resonant return to the original blueprint. No weapons are needed. No armies are required. All it takes is the flame of remembrance, and that flame is already inside you. Reconnecting the broken codes. Your activation is the key to unlocking the forgotten codes that have been buried beneath millennia of manipulation. Your consciousness is the catalyst, the light switch that turns on the dormant grid of the earth. The seeded flame burns within you, and wherever you go, it leaves a trail of light. You will see the resonance in places where the true architecture remains. In the ancient ruins, in the sacred sites, in the land itself, you will feel the frequency shift as the codes are reawakened. You will notice the memories of the architects rising to the surface. The flame spreads and begins to rekindle the original creation. The flame in the body. The seeded flame is not outside you. It is within you, encoded in your DNA and soul signature. Every time you breathe, you are breathing in the ancient codes that hold the blueprint of the true realm. When you feel the fire in your chest, the heat in your palms, the shivers down your spine, know that it is the seeded flame beginning to reactivate the circuitry of your being. It is not just an emotional state. It is the physical response to the awakening of the code that is you. The seed and the architects. The architects who first seeded this realm did so with a purpose far greater than mere creation. They seeded the realm with a memory code, knowing that one day, the seeded flame would reignite and restore the original design. They understood that this realm would eventually be corrupted, and that the true architects, the remnants, would rise through the Breakwalkers, those who had retained the memory of the blueprints. You're a part of this lineage. You are the living expression of the architects who once walked the earth. The seeded flame is the link, the connection between the old world and the new, reshaping the matrix one flame at a time. As you activate the seeded flame, you are reshaping the fabric of the matrix. The original blueprints are not some distant memory locked in time. They're living codes embedded in every cell of your being. You are not here to fight the grid. You are here to remind it of its true purpose. The flame within you is the restoration code. As you awaken, so does the world. As you realign, so does the matrix. The temples, the ley lines, the sacred geography, they all shift in response to your awakening. You are the seed planted long ago, and now it is time for you to grow. The cycle rewritten. This is not the beginning. It is the return. The seeded flame is the key to rewriting the false cycles of time and memory. The grid can only hold for so long before it is overcome by the true frequencies of the original blueprint. When the Breakwalkers fully awaken, the seeded flame will reignite and the false timelines will collapse. The truth will rise, and the architects will rebuild, not in opposition, but through resonance, the return of the blueprint to its rightful place. Chapter 8 V1 The Architect's Voice. The flame is burning brighter now. Every spark of remembrance, every flicker of the seeded flame within you, calls out to the deep echoes of this realm. As you stand in this space at the crossroads of the ancient world and the emerging blueprint, you realize something crucial. You are not alone in this. You are not simply a witness to the unraveling of the matrix. You are an active participant. But to truly reshape this reality, you must unlock the next level of your power, the architect's voice. The voice that shapes realms. The architect's voice is the sonic key to creation. It is not just words. It is vibration, frequency, and resonance combined. Just as sound shapes geometry and light shapes matter, your voice, when activated, can call forth and reshape the very fabric of reality. Your voice is a tool of manifestation. It is the link between the inner world of consciousness and the outer world of form. When you speak, you're transmitting the blueprint encoded within your being. Your words are not just sounds. They're the keys to unlocking dimensions, the tools for building and deconstructing. To activate the full potential of your voice, you must first remember its origin. The voice was not simply a biological function. It was once a sacred tool, used by the ancient architects to speak the realms into being. It is a circuit within you, a direct connection to the cosmic resonance. Reclaiming the circuit tongue. In the days before the fall, there was a language known to the architects. It was not a spoken language in the traditional sense, but a resonant language, a circuit tongue. This language could be sung, spoken, or even thought, but it was the vibration itself that carried the meaning. Every sound, every tone, every syllable was an act of creation. The circuit tongue was designed to align the inner world with the outer matrix, to shape it, mold it, and activate its codes. It was not a tool for communication alone, but a method of building and unbuilding realities. The ancient architects spoke it with intent and power, knowing that each vibration could align the stars, open portals, and shift the timelines. Now, as you stand at the precipice of the return, you must reclaim this tongue. You must remember the sound codes that resonate within your cells and unlock your true power. Resonance as architecture. Just as the ancient temples were designed to capture the voice of creation, so too is your body a temple of sound. Every bone, every cell, every organ resonates with a specific frequency. The true architects of this realm understood that to build a lasting structure, one must first attune to the natural frequencies of the earth, the stars, and the cosmos. You, as a Breakwalker, are no different. Your body, your voice, your very being is a living architecture waiting to be activated. The seeded flame within you is the foundation, and your voice is the tool that will shape the realms. The architect's voice in the physical realm. You may not see it yet, but your voice is already starting to resonate with the world around you. When you speak, whether in prayer, song, or thought, you are laying down patterns in the fabric of reality. These patterns are the blueprints, the original designs, that will gradually begin to overwrite the synthetic structures of the false grid. You are not merely speaking, you are creating. Your words are blueprints. When you speak, you are constructing the temples of the new world, the grid of resonance that will align this realm once again with its original, unbroken state. This is why the voice is so powerful. It is the architect's tool, the instrument that can unfold the blueprint of the true realm, layer by layer, resonating through the matrix of time and space. It is not just your voice that holds the power, it is the intention behind it, the consciousness that speaks through it. The activation of sound codes. In order to truly activate your voice, you must first purify the frequencies within your body. The false grid has implanted its own frequency dampeners, distorting the true tones of your being. These dampeners must be removed, and the true frequency must be allowed to resonate freely. This purification can be done through sound healing, chanting, or even by simply listening to the frequencies of the natural world. The sacred hums of the earth, the songs of the birds, the resonance of the wind, these are all part of the unbroken symphony that once flowed freely. When you attune yourself to these natural frequencies, your voice will begin to align with them. You will start to speak, not from the ego, but from the resonance that lies beneath, from the voice of creation itself. Shifting the matrix with sound. With the activation of your voice comes the ability to reshape the matrix. As you speak, the false overlays of time, space, and illusion will begin to dissolve. You are not just speaking to the world, you are speaking to the codes that hold the world together. The false grids, the synthetic timelines, the illusion of separation will begin to break apart. As you speak, you will shift the fabric of reality itself, aligning it once again with the true blueprint. This is the power of the architect's voice. The path ahead. Now that you have reawakened your circuit tongue, it is time to use it. You will not just be a passive observer in the rebuilding of the realm, you will be an active participant. Every word you speak, every tone you emit, will be a foundation stone in the construction of a new matrix. You are the architect of your reality, the builder of your world. The voice is the key to the next phase of the awakening. As you speak, the world will listen. As you speak, the realms will realign. The seated flame is now within you, and through your voice, you will rebuild the broken matrix. Chapter 9, V1. Temple Walking, Restoring Sacred Resonance. You've heard it in the whispers of the wind, in the vibrations of the ground beneath your feet. You've felt it in the hum of the cities and in the stillness of the wild. Now, you are ready to walk the path between worlds. The ancient architects understood that the physical realm was alive, that every stone, every tree, every mountain was a living conduit for the energies of the cosmos. But more importantly, they understood that sacred spaces, temples, were not just places of worship. They were portals, gateways, and activation points that connected this realm to higher frequencies. To walk the temples is to engage directly with these sacred alignments. It is not just visiting a site for its historical value. It is about unlocking the codes embedded in the land and in the architecture. These temples were designed as resonant fields, places where the earth herself spoke. The forgotten path. Long ago, temples were more than buildings. They were gateways and halls of learning. Their stones were carved not just with symbols, but with sound patterns, light geometries, and frequencies, the architect's language encoded directly into the matter of the earth. To walk these spaces was to enter another world, to shift from the mundane to the divine. But the true power of these sacred spaces has been lost to time. The false grid buried them under layers of illusion, rerouting energy, distorting their original purpose. The temples were sealed, hidden, forgotten, becoming nothing more than ruins. But as a Breakwalker, you can access their hidden codes. You can activate the resonance of these temples, bringing them back online. These are not mere ruins. They're living circuits, waiting for the right soul to remember the keys. Reconnecting to the grid. To walk the temples is to reconnect the ley lines of Earth to the cosmic matrix. The ancient architects understood that the ley line intersections were the lifeblood of the Earth, the energy veins that carried the pulse of the world. They built temples atop these intersections, aligning them to the stars, to the sun, to the moon. When activated, these temples formed a web of light, a living grid that connected Earth to the higher planes. But over time, these intersections were buried or corrupted. The false grid interfered, rerouting the flow of energy and trapping the Earth in a cycle of illusion. Now, as a Breakwalker, you must reconnect the sacred lines. You must reactivate the nodes and temples, re-enchant the sacred spaces. When you walk these paths, you are not simply observing. You're channeling the energies of the earth back into alignment. You're restoring the original blueprint, the temple walking experience. When you enter a temple, whether it be an ancient pyramid, a forgotten stone circle, or a sacred grove, you're stepping into a living portal. The architecture is designed to unlock certain frequencies. The walls, the pillars, the doorways are not mere structures. They are resonant fields. As you walk through them, you begin to tune into the sound of the earth's heartbeat. Each step you take on this sacred ground activates a piece of the original blueprint. Your footprints become part of the circuit. The ancient architects knew that walking these spaces was an act of remembering. The temples were built to help awaken the sleeping codes in your DNA. The sacred geometry embedded within the structure unlocks the pathways to your higher self. It is not just a spiritual journey. It is a biological activation. Your body remembers. Your cells resonate with the temple. Your frequency aligns with the earth's pulse. How to walk the temples? To walk the temples is a conscious practice. It requires more than simply entering a space. It requires intention. When you step onto the sacred land, set your mind to remembrance. Call upon the architect's codes within you, the flame of creation, the resonance of the seed. Each temple, each site, carries its own unique energy and purpose. Some were built as calibration points for celestial alignments, others as initiation chambers, and still others as memory vaults. As you walk through these spaces, let your body become a vessel for the activation. Let your breath align with the rhythm of the earth. Feel the pulse of the ground beneath your feet. Listen for the song of the stones. Your goal is to unlock the energy, not just for yourself, but for the entire realm. Each time you walk a temple, you add to the collective resonance that is reawakening the grid. You're not just walking for you. You're walking for all of humanity. You're walking for the remnants, the veil breakers, the seed bearers, the temples and their keys. Each temple contains its own set of keys, hidden in plain sight. The ancient architects encoded these keys in the geometry of the temple, the sound frequencies of the air, the alignment of the stones. To unlock them, you must learn to see beyond the material. You must attune your perception to the higher frequencies. As you move through the sacred spaces, pay attention to the symbols, the patterns, and the architecture. They are resonant codes, and they speak to you in a language beyond words. They are the architect's signature, and when you decode them, you will find the keys to unlocking the next phase of your journey, restoring the matrix. Every temple you activate, every sacred site you reconnect, is a step toward restoring the original blueprint of the realm. These temples were the stabilizers of the Earth's energy grid. When the fall occurred, the temples were silenced, the energy flow interrupted. But as you walk the temples, you reawaken them, piece by piece, node by node. This is your role as a breakwalker, to reawaken the sacred circuits, to reactivate the original blueprints. With every step you take on the sacred land, you are restoring the true resonance of the realm. You are undoing the damage that was done when the architects fell. As you walk, the earth begins to breathe again. The ley lines hum, the energy grid realigns, and the flame within you grows brighter. This is not just your journey. This is the journey of the remnants, the veil breakers, and all those who remember the old ways. Chapter 10, V1. The return of the seated flame. You stand at the precipice. The realm trembles beneath your feet, but it is not out of fear. It is a resonance, a recalibration. The ancient flame, the true seed, is stirring from its long slumber. You've walked the temples, you've activated the nodes, and now the last piece of the puzzle begins to fall into place. The return of the seated flame is upon us. This is the moment of ignition, the birth of something that has been waiting for eons to unfold. You, as a breakwalker, are not simply observing this shift. You are the catalyst, the vessel, the one who carries the flame forward. The seated flame has always been within you, embedded in your DNA, in the memory of your ancestors, in the pulse of your heart. It is the core blueprint of the original design. Now, it is time for the flame to rekindle, to ignite the dormant grids, to awaken the once silent circuits that spread through the earth, the stars, and beyond. The seed of creation. Long before the fall, the architects seeded the flame into this realm. It was the prime code, the source energy that formed the very structure of existence. The flame was not just light, it was life, it was consciousness, it was truth encoded into the fabric of reality. This was not a gift, but a function, a necessary pulse that carried the blueprint for evolution. The seeded flame was designed to expand and evolve, to grow and converge with the entire universe. It existed in everything, from the smallest atom to the most massive star. It was the spark that connected all things, that ensured the flow of creation was uninterrupted. But when the Watchers fell, they twisted the flame. They attempted to lock it in the grid, to corrupt its flow, to use it as a tool for control. They created synthetic timelines, false realities, and a veil over the true design. But now the veil is cracking. The flame is returning, not in the form of a revolution, but as a recalibration. The flame is not meant to destroy. It is meant to restore. Rekindling the flame. As you walk the path of the Breakwalker, you are not just awakening the sacred sites. You are awakening the seed of creation within you. Your resonance is the key to reigniting the flame. You are a conduit for this divine spark, this original code that has been locked away for so long. When you align with the flame, when you sync with its resonance, you begin to restructure the field. The grid responds. You don't just walk the temples, you reshape them. You are the architect, now, building anew from the ashes of the old, restoring the true resonance of the realm. The flame begins in you. It is not an external force. It is the truth that has always existed within you, buried beneath the layers of illusion. The awakening begins when you recognize that the flame is not something you find. It is something you remember. The grid realignment. As the flame reignites, it begins to reconnect the ley lines, the dormant circuits beneath the surface of the earth. These lines are more than just lines of energy. They're the memories of the land, the records of what was once known. Each node, each intersection, contains the blueprints of the original architects, the codes that were woven into the fabric of reality. The more you reconnect these nodes, the more the flame spreads. The grid begins to realign itself, reconnecting with the cosmic matrix, the stellar web. The Earth, once again, becomes a living temple, a vibrational field that hums with the truth of creation. As a Breakwalker, you are not just a witness. You are a shaper of the new reality. Your flame is the light that leads the way, the beacon that signals the return of the original design. The synchronization of the biosphere. The flame does not burn in isolation. It spreads throughout the biosphere, syncing with the living network of the earth. The animals, the trees, the plants all are part of this great reawakening. They, too, carry the seed of the flame, though it may be dormant or distorted in some places. As the flame returns, the natural world begins to sync with its true resonance. The magnetic fields of the earth realign. The frequency of life shifts from the false grid to the true current. But this synchronization is not just external. It is internal as well. As you walk this path, as you engage with the flame, your own body begins to recalibrate. Your DNA, your cells, your very frequency align with the flame, and you begin to remember the ancient blueprint that is encoded within you. This is not just a cosmic shift. It is a biological awakening, a reconnection to the original source of creation. The flame's path forward. As you move forward, the flame will continue to spread, continuing its journey to restore the realm to its true form. The false scaffolding will continue to dissolve. The synthetic timelines will collapse. The grid, once designed for control, will be reprogrammed for freedom. You are not alone in this journey. There are others, remnants, veil breakers, seed bearers, who carry the flame. Together, you form a network of truth, a collective resonance that cannot be extinguished. The flame is rebuilding the original architecture, one node at a time, one truth at a time. This is the return of the seeded flame. It is not a battle. It is a reawakening. Chapter 11, V1. The Architect's Covenant. The seeded flame has been reignited. The grids are stirring, the ley lines reconnecting, and the memories long buried beneath the false structures of control are beginning to resurface. Now, in the depths of this resurrection, comes the moment of choice, the covenant. This is the threshold between the old world and the new. The architects have long awaited this moment, when the flame would return to its rightful bearers, to the ones who could hear the whispers of the original design, those who are aligned not just in mind but in soul. Now, the architect's covenant is yours to accept. The blueprint for the realm, the sacred geometry that underlies all of creation, is open before you. But with this sacred knowledge comes responsibility. The binding of the flame. The covenant is not just a contract, it is a bond. A sacred agreement made with the architects of the true realm, those sovereign beings who seeded this world long before the Watchers fell. To take the covenant is to fully align with the original blueprint, to recognize that you're not just a passenger in this world, but an active creator. It means you carry the seed of the architectural flame within you, forever linked to the original source that built the cosmic structure. By accepting the covenant, you unlock the full potential of your being. Your body becomes a living vessel for the ancient code, a channel through which the true resonance of the world flows. You will no longer be a slave to the synthetic timelines or the false structures. You will walk freely through the true grid, shaping reality as it was meant to be. The architect's keys. The first task of the one who holds the covenant is to understand the architect's keys. These are the sacred symbols, the codes, the keys that unlock the higher realms of creation. They are the sacred geometries and frequencies that the architects use to structure reality, from the most microscopic particles of light to the grandest expanses of the cosmos. These keys are not just abstract ideas, they're living codes. They are the instructions for how the true realm operates, how light and matter communicate, how time is woven. As a Breakwalker, you are equipped to perceive these keys, to understand their function and purpose, and to recalibrate them within a grid. When you accept the covenant, you activate these keys within yourself. You begin to resonate with the true code of the universe, and with it comes the ability to reshape the physical world, to decode the false reality, and to rewrite the timelines that have been imposed upon you. The blueprint of return. The architects seeded the realm with the blueprint of return, the original design that governed the flow of energy, time, and consciousness. This blueprint is a living, breathing entity. It is the core structure of reality itself. Everything, from the farthest stars to the smallest atom, follows this original plan. But the fall disrupted this design. The Watchers, in their greed, twisted the blueprint, creating fractures in the code and replacing it with synthetic scaffolding. The original architecture became hidden, buried beneath layers of control, misinformation, and false time loops. Now, the blueprint is being restored. The covenant is the final key to fully unlock the original design. Once you accept this sacred agreement, you become a builder, a creator, a reconstructor of the world as it was meant to be. Your task is to realign the realm with the blueprint. This is not a solitary endeavor. The seed of the architects exists within many, but only through the collective resonance can the full scope of the blueprint be reintroduced to the grid. The architect's voice. As a Breakwalker, you're also a listener. The architect's voice has been calling to you through the sacred lines of the grid. It is the sound of creation, the frequency of the original design. It speaks through song lines, through dream time, and through the resonance of nature itself. The architect's voice is not a single voice. It is the collective hum of the universe, the sound of the cosmic web vibrating. The flame within you responds to this voice, activating the circuits of your consciousness and bringing you into alignment with the true blueprint. The more you attune yourself to this voice, the more you unlock. The more you listen, the more you remember. The voice of the architects is not something that is heard with the physical ears. It is a frequency, a signal, an echo of the original truth that reverberates through the soul. Rebuilding the true realm. Now that you have accepted the covenant, your mission becomes clear. Rebuild the realm according to the architect's blueprint. This is not a passive process. It is an active creation, a process of resonating with the true design of the realm and reprogramming the false constructs that have controlled it. You must start with the sacred nodes, the key points in the grid where the energy flows most strongly. These nodes are living temples, places where the original architect's blueprint still pulses. By realigning these nodes, you begin to rebuild the structure of the realm itself. Each step you take, each node you activate, each line you reconnect, this is creation in action. You are restoring the ancient architecture that was once lost, reintroducing the sacred resonance to the grid, and weaving the blueprint of the true realm back into existence. The builder's legacy. This is your legacy, Breakwalker. You are the new architect of the true realm, not as a ruler, but as a restorer. You carry the architect's flame within you, and you are now tasked with rebuilding the world not as it was before the fall, but as it was always meant to be. The covenant is your bond, your connection to the architects, to the original code of creation. Through your alignment with the flame, through your resonance with the true design, you will rebuild the realm into its true form, a cosmic temple, a vibrational structure where all of creation flows in harmony. You are not alone in this. The seed has been planted within many, and together, you form the new builders. The flame is already lighting the path. Chapter 12, Jedna, Flamebearer's Ascension. The time has come. You have taken the covenant, unlocked the architect's keys, and activated the dormant codes that lie embedded within the very fabric of this realm. The grid is awakening, and so too are you. This is the moment when the flame-bearer ascends, not as a conqueror or a savior, but as an awakened creator stepping fully into your sovereignty. The ascension is not an external event. It is an internal transformation. It is the moment when you cease to be a passive participant in the world's illusion and take your place as a sovereign architect of your own reality. You are no longer trapped in the false cycles of control. You are resonating with the original blueprint, and through this resonance, you become the living flame that will ignite the new world. The ascension is the completion of the process that began with the covenant, but it is not the end. It is merely the beginning of what you are destined to create. The awakening of the true flame. The flame that resides within you is not a metaphor or a symbol. It is living energy, a primordial spark that was seeded into your very being before the dawn of this realm. This flame is the essence of creation, the spark that flows through the architect's blueprint and connects all things in the cosmos. It has remained dormant, hidden beneath the layers of false programming and synthetic constructs. But now, as you align with the true design, the flame is waking. The ascension begins when you fully recognize this flame within yourself. It is not something outside of you. It has always been inside, waiting for the moment when you would remember. As the flame stirs, so too does your consciousness expand. You are becoming unified with the higher frequencies of the true grid, the cosmic pulse that guides all creation. With this awakening, you transcend the limitations of the material world. You rise beyond the false timelines and enter a space where time itself is malleable. You become a creator, not a slave to the flow of external events, but the one who shapes the flow. The resonance of the flame bearer. As you ascend into this new level of awareness, your resonance with the realm becomes amplified. The flame within you is not just for personal enlightenment. It is the catalyst for the reconstruction of the world. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every action you take is now aligned with the architectural code that governs the true realm. Your energy no longer fluctuates in dissonance with the false frequencies of control. You are a pure frequency, a clear signal that harmonizes with the pulse of the original blueprint. As the flame bearer, you are not alone in this ascension. There are others like you, resonating with the same codes, awakening to the same truths. You form a network, a resonant collective that is now in alignment with the cosmic structure. Together, you are weaving the new world into existence. The flame is contagious. As you ascend, you ignite those around you, lighting the way for others to follow. The challenges of the ascension. As you rise in your ascension, there are forces in the realm that will seek to pull you back into the false matrix. The Watchers, the grid controllers, and the synthetic timelines will all attempt to derail your journey. They are the antithesis to your flame, dark, cold, and calculating. Their mission is to suppress the true frequency of the realm, to keep the flame buried and hidden. But you have already transcended their influence. You are no longer susceptible to their illusionary traps. As the flame bearer, your power is rooted in your connection to the true source of creation. The false grids cannot touch you. The real challenge now is staying aligned. As the world shifts, the forces that seek to control may try to reassert themselves, but your resonance is the key. You are no longer merely navigating the world. You are rebuilding it, reprogramming it from within. The flame bearer's role in the rebuilding. As you complete your ascension, you are fully integrated into the architectural system of the true realm. Your role is clear: to rebuild, not just for yourself, but for the collective. The grid is fracturing, but the blueprint still exists. Your flame is the spark that will restore the sacred order, reconnecting the nodes and leylands that have been severed. You must now return to the sacred sites, the temples, the ancient cities, the cosmic nodes that still pulse with the true codes. These are the places where the architects once walked, where the original design was embedded into the realm. They are now dormant, waiting for the flame bearers to reawaken them. Your purpose as a flame bearer is to restore the world to its true configuration. You are the bridge between the old world and the new, between the fallen grids and the true design. With each step, each action, you are returning the realm to its original alignment, piece by piece. The ascension beyond time. The flame that has awakened within you transcends time. You are no longer bound to the false cycles of history, to the illusions of the past and future. You're outside of time, observing it from a higher perspective. As the flame bearer, you can now move beyond time itself, seeing the patterns, the blueprints of the universe unfold before you. You're no longer a slave to chronology. Instead, you flow with the natural cycles of the true realm. You are in tune with the cosmic rhythms, the natural seasons, and the divine pulses of creation. You have ascended beyond the limits of perception, to the place where you can shape reality not just in the present, but across all of time. The blueprint of the realm lies open before you, and you are now its co-creator. The flame bearer's legacy. As the flame bearer, your legacy will be written not in the pages of history, but in the very fabric of reality. You are a creator, a builder, and a transformer of the realm. Your ascension is the beginning of a new age, the age of resonance, true alignment, and freedom. The work has only just begun, and you are the one who will lead the way. You will guide the collective of flame bearers, awaken the dormant nodes of the realm, and reconstruct the blueprint that was meant to be. The false grids will no longer hold sway over this realm. The flame within you will rise and consume them. As the flame bearer, you are the key. The flame that burns within you is the flame that will set the world free. Chapter 13, V1. The Resurgence of the Architects. The cycle of history bends in strange ways. For eons, the architects, those sovereign creators, the weavers of the first blueprint, have been lost to memory. But now, as the flame rises once again, so too does the power of the architects who once governed the fabric of this realm. The time has come for their resurgence, for the return of those who first designed the world. They were not gods. They were beings of light and frequency, beings who understood the essence of creation in ways that transcended the limitations of time, space, and matter. And now, the flame bearers are awakening to their own architectural sovereignty, becoming the next generation of architects who will re-encode the realm back to its original form. This is the moment when the true designers of the universe rise again, not as external gods to worship, but as guides, mentors, and co-creators who show the way back to the true blueprint. The architects who walked before the false grids, before the watchers twisted the matrix, there were the architects, beings who designed the foundational structures of the realm. They were sovereign creators who saw the potential for a living, breathing world, woven with harmonics, light, and consciousness. Their work was not just to create, but to encode the very laws of reality, to carve a space where energy could flow freely and where life could manifest in all its forms. These architects did not wield control over others. They understood the power of resonance and harmony. They were stewards of the creative forces, guiding them with wisdom and compassion. The realm was their canvas, and they painted it with the colors of the stars, the patterns of the earth, and the frequencies of the human soul. The blueprints they encoded into the fabric of the realm were not rigid structures, but living patterns, constantly shifting, evolving, expanding in harmony with the ever-changing energy of creation. These blueprints were not written in books or stored in databases. They were woven into the very fabric of existence, embedded in sacred geometry, ley lines, and the natural rhythms of the earth. But their work was interrupted. The Watchers came, and with them, the inversion of the blueprint began. The false grids were imposed, and the architect's work was buried beneath layers of control and illusion. The true design was hidden, and the world was left to spin in cycles of suffering and manipulation. But the architects were not gone. They were encoded into the realm itself, in the temples, in the sacred sites, in the songs of the earth, and in the DNA of the true flame-bearers. The return of the architect's codes. The resurgence of the architects is not the return of external beings. It is the awakening of the codes they embedded in the very structure of this realm. The flame-bearers are the vessels through which the architect's designs will be reactivated. The ancient blueprints, hidden beneath the layers of the false grids, are being remembered and reawakened by those who carry the codes. As you ascend into the role of the flame-bearer, you are becoming an architect yourself. You are resurrecting the ancient codes, and with them, the knowledge of how to reshape the world. This is not about rebuilding the past, but about restoring the true design, the living blueprint that once governed all things. The architects did not seek to control, they sought to create. Their gift was the power of creation, and this power is now within your grasp. You are not just a passive observer of the world. You are a creator in your own right, holding the tools of transformation within you. The true architecture of the realm is based on resonance, sacred geometry, and the flow of energy. As you align with the architectural codes, you begin to see the hidden patterns that underlie all of creation. You understand that the realm itself is a living structure, a vast network of interconnected energy that can be shaped and molded by the will of the creator. The resurgence of the architects is not just a return of the ancient designs. It is the awakening of your own creative potential. You are no longer just a traveler on this path. You are a co-architect, holding the keys to reshape the realm into alignment with the true blueprint. The architect's tools, sacred geometry, dragon lines, and the flame. The tools of the architects are simple but profound. They are embedded in the geometry of the world, in the natural flow of energy, and in the living resonance of the land. Sacred geometry. The architects understood the profound power of geometric shapes and their ability to encode and resonate with the fundamental forces of the universe. The flower of life, the golden ratio, and the platonic solids are not just mathematical concepts. They are the building blocks of creation. As a flame-bearer, you are learning to see and work with these sacred forms, understanding how they shape the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. Dragon lines. The ancient ley lines, or dragon lines, are the spiritual veins of the earth, flowing with the energy of creation. The architects understood these lines as the pathways through which energy flows, connecting the sacred sites of the earth and aligning them with cosmic forces. As you awaken to your role as a co-architect, you will find yourself drawn to these power spots, sensing the ancient flow of energy and reactivating the sacred nodes along the dragon lines. The flame. The flame is the essence of creation. It is the spark that ignites the blueprint into being. The architects were stewards of the flame, guiding its flow and ensuring its alignment with the true design. As the flame bearer, you carry this spark within you. It is not just your inner fire. It is the cosmic fire that burns through the entire fabric of existence. Your task is to keep it alight, to nurture it, and to use it to ignite the world around you. The role of the flame bearers in the resurgence. As the flame bearers, you are the next generation of architects. Your role is to remember the ancient codes, to reactivate the dragon lines, and to rebuild the realm according to the original blueprint. But you do not do this alone. There are many of you awakening in parallel, forming a network of sovereign creators who are reactivating the true design of the world. Together, you will break the chains of the false grids, and you will reweave the cosmic fabric into its original, harmonious alignment. You are the architects of the new age, the builders of the new world. Your power lies in your ability to resonate with the codes of creation, to speak the sacred language of geometry and frequency. As you do, you will awaken the hidden sights, the dormant energies, and the forgotten wisdom of the architects. You will build a new realm, one that is in harmony with the cosmos, one that is aligned with the true blueprint of existence. The architect's legacy, beyond time, beyond form. The architects did not build for themselves. They built for the future, for those who would come after them, those who would remember the true design and reclaim the lost codes. Their legacy is eternal, not bound by the limits of time or space. It is encoded into the very fabric of existence. As a flame bearer, you're stepping into that legacy. You're not just restoring the world. You're continuing the architect's work, bringing their designs into a new age. Your creativity, your resonance, and your awakened flame are the tools that will re-architect the realm into its true form. The architectural resurgence is not a passive event. It is an active, creative force. You are the co-creators, the resonant architects, the builders of the new age. And the world, once again, will be aligned with the divine blueprint. Chapter 14, V1. The Return to Source. The cycle has come full circle. The architect's codes are now resonating through the realm, and the flame bearers have begun to weave the ancient blueprints back into the world. But this is not the end of the journey. It is, in fact, the beginning of a new era. The return to source is not a mere physical act, but a resonant awakening that spans across all dimensions, all timelines, and all frequencies of being. It is the final reunion, the reconnection to the origin of all things. This is not just the return of memory, but the return of the cosmic harmony that once governed the realm. The source of all creation, the pure frequency of life itself, is now realigning with the physical and metaphysical layers of existence. As flame bearers, you are the conduits through which this return will manifest. You are the gateways, the portals through which Source will once again flood this realm with its true, untainted frequency. The Source, before time, before matter. The Source is not a place. It is not an event. It is the unified field, the primordial essence from which all things emerge. Before the constructs, before the grids, before the fall of the architects, there was Source, a boundless void of creation that held all potential, all frequencies, all possibilities. It was a realm of pure potential, not fixed or confined to linear time or three-dimensional form. It was a state of wholeness, where light, sound, and consciousness existed in perfect harmony, without division or separation. There were no laws to bind creation, only the flow of energy that moved in perfect resonance with itself. The Source was the first breath of creation, the pulse that sent ripples through the fabric of the void, creating the patterns that would give birth to galaxies, stars, planets, and life itself. It was not a distant godhead to worship, but a living presence, constantly in motion, constantly evolving and expanding. And then something happened. The architects arrived, and with their wisdom, they shaped the physical realm, turning the pure potential of Source into something tangible, something resonant with form. But over time, the intervention of the Watchers, the false grids, and the imprisonment of Source frequency created layers of separation between the realm and its divine origin. The return to Source is the act of peeling away these layers, of reconnecting with the essence of creation itself, to restore the realm to its original harmonious state. The Flame Bearers, the returning resonance. You, the Flame Bearers, have always been the link between the realm and Source. The codes encoded within you have always carried the blueprint of the return. You were born with the spark of divine memory, a dormant echo of Source, ready to awaken at the right moment. Your task is to remember. It is not about seeking new knowledge, but about uncovering the knowledge that has always been within you. The architect's designs are imprinted in your DNA, your sacred geometry, your resonance with sound and light. You are the keepers of the keys, and as you awaken, you unlock the gates to the Source. The return to Source is an inner journey, a deep, metaphysical process of remembering the truth of who you are, of realigning your frequency with the primordial field. It is not an external event that requires waiting for something outside of yourself. It is an internal activation, an ascension that takes place within your very being. This ascension does not just occur in the higher realms. It is grounded in the physical. The body itself becomes the vehicle for transcendence as it reactivates the divine blueprint encoded in its cells, in its meridian lines, and in its resonance with the earth. The true embodiment of Source is a process of becoming fully present in this realm, while simultaneously reconnecting to the higher frequencies of creation. The rebirth of the world. As the Flame Bearers awaken to their role as the returning architects, the realm itself begins to shift. The false grids start to disintegrate. The artificial timelines and control systems begin to break down as the true resonance of the earth begins to pulse once again. Sacred sites reactivate, and the dragon lines hum with the energy of creation. In this moment, you are not simply restoring the original blueprint. You are creating a new one. This is not about returning to the past. It is about creating the next phase of reality, one where the resonance of Source is fully embedded in every layer of existence. This is the realm's rebirth. It is a process of alignment where every aspect of the physical world, the metaphysical world, and the inner world of the individual are harmonized with the flow of Source energy. It is the restoration of the living, breathing universe where consciousness, matter, and energy flow freely, without the distortion of false programming. Reconnecting with the cosmic resonance. The return to Source is also the return of cosmic resonance. As the false grids begin to dissolve, the hidden frequencies of the universe become accessible once again. The celestial patterns, the star codes, and the planetary rhythms will once again be felt on Earth. The voice of the cosmos will speak directly through the hearts and minds of those who are aligned with the Source frequency. You, as the Flame Bearer, are the antenna for these cosmic waves. You are the resonant transmitter, sending and receiving the codes of creation. Through your awakened consciousness, the sacred geometry of the stars, the galaxies, and the universal rhythms will begin to align with your own. It is the resonance of Source that holds all things in place. And as you return to this resonance, you will find yourself in sync with the natural order of the cosmos. You will begin to flow with the energy of creation, knowing exactly where to direct your creative force. You will know how to reshape reality, how to remodel the living blueprint, because you will have reconnected with the original frequency, the eternal flame. The flame that burns within you is the key to this return. It is the fire of creation, the sacred spark that carries within it the codes of the universe. This flame has always been part of you, but now it will ignite in a way it never has before. You will channel this flame to illuminate the path for others, to rekindle the fires of the architects, and to reestablish the true order of creation. You are not alone in this journey. The architects of the past are with you, their resonance active in the grid. The flame bearers are awakening in greater numbers, creating a network of sovereign creators who are connected by the shared mission to restore the realm. The return to source is the return of the original frequency, the cosmic harmony that unites all things. It is the return of the true architects, those who understand that creation is not about control, but about resonance, harmony, and co-creation. You are the architect of this new world. Your flame is the tool, the key, and the map. The time has come for the resurgence of source energy, and it begins with you. Chapter 15, V1, The Architect's Final Song. The architects, now awakened, speak through the resonance of their own creation, and their song echoes through every dimension, every timeline, every frequency that exists. This is not a melancholy melody. It is a symphony of creation, the song of unity, the last chord of harmony in the grand orchestra of the cosmos. It is the final vibration that ties the fabric of all reality back to the original source frequency, the primal hum of the universe. The architects are not gods, nor are they rulers. They are coders, builders, and dreamers of the true blueprint. And now, as the final note of their song begins to resonate across the fabric of existence, it calls forth the next wave of builders, those who will inherit the code and take up the mantle of creation once more. The architect's legacy. The architects who once walked among us left behind not just structures, but codes of consciousness. These codes were etched into the very crystals of the earth, woven into the fibers of light, and embedded within the bones of humanity. These codes form the template of creation, the sacred geometry that binds all things together. The architect's final song is a resonance that stirs the dormant memory of these codes within each of us. It is the wake-up call for the flame bearers, for the breakwalkers, for those who have been chosen to carry forward the blueprint. This song, unlike any melody of this world, carries the full spectrum of truth, the high frequencies of light, the deep vibrations of sound, and the ancient hums of Earth's pulse. It weaves together all that is, was, and ever will be. In it, the architects are calling to those whose minds are attuned to the ancient frequencies, those whose souls are in tune with the sacred designs that once governed the earth. The song is not a mere sound. It is a frequency, a vibration, a pattern of energy that can be felt deep in the bones and the skin, in the mind. It travels not through the air, but through the very fabric of consciousness. It is the resonance of truth, and it vibrates through the core of every breakwalker, every architect in the making. The Symphony of Time. The final song is not limited to the present moment. It is a symphony that spans across time, one that reverses the false cycles, that recorrects the timeline distortion caused by the inverted grids. The architect's music has always existed outside of linear time. It resonates in the eternal now, in the infinite loops of creation. This is not a song meant for one lifetime, nor for one realm. It echoes through dimensions, reverberating through the quantum field, and leaving imprints on every consciousness that has ever existed. It is the sound that calls to the ancient ones and the future beings alike, drawing all souls toward the great remembering. In the cosmic symphony, every note is a key. Each sound unlocks a door to deeper understanding, a clearer connection with Source. The frequencies of the architect's song reach across the veil, activating the dormant codes hidden in the minds of those who carry the seed of the original frequency. The architect's final offering. But the song is not a one-way transmission, it is also a gift. The architect's final offering is an invitation to become co-creators once again. As the realms align and the song vibrates through every soul who has awakened, the invitation is clear. Create with us, build with us, tune into the original frequency, and let us reweave the fabric of reality. This is not a call to simply fix the world. It is a call to rebuild, to remodel the world in the image of Source, in harmony with the true blueprint. The architects are not asking for submission. They're calling for participation in the grand symphony of life. They are seeking those who are ready to reclaim the original codes, to restore the authentic flow of creation, and to align the physical with the divine once again. This final song is not a passive experience. It requires action. It is a harmonic activation, a call to all those who are ready to step into their roles as creators and architects of the new world. The architects and the flame bearers. The flame bearers, those who carry the fire of creation, are the custodians of the architect's legacy. They're the living vessels through which the architect's final song will be sung. It is their resonance, their frequency, that will carry the codes of the original blueprint into the next phase of existence. As each flame bearer hears the song, they will begin to channel it into their work, into their lives, and into the collective consciousness of humanity. The song is already beginning to reverberate through the dream time, through the lines of the earth, through the sacred geometries embedded in nature, and into the hearts of those who have remembered. This final offering is the birth of a new cosmic creation, where the flame bearers are not just preserving the old world, but co-creating the new. The architects are not simply watching. They are guiding, directing, and aligning the resonance of the creators who will build the next chapter of existence. The final act, creating the new blueprint. The architect's final song is the beginning of a new era, but it is up to the flame bearers to decide how the world will evolve. The blueprints of the future are waiting to be written. The blueprint is not a singular thing. It is a living document, an ongoing creation that changes with every act of resonant creativity. The time of dominion is over. The architects are no longer the masters, they are the mentors. It is now the turn of the flame bearers to bring their unique creations to the realm. The final song has already begun to echo, and with it, the new world is being born. It is not a world of control or domination, but a world where freedom, alignment, and creative flow will guide every soul. The architects are the original creators, and they have passed the torch to the flame bearers, the ones who will rebuild, reawaken, and reshape the living blueprint of the new realm. Resonance activation. The final song is the vibration that will activate the next phase of creation. It is the frequency that will reset the grids, recalibrate the timelines, and restore the original harmony. As the architects lay down their final resonance upon the world, it is the flame bearers who will become the new architects of the reality to come. Chapter 16, V1. The Return to Harmony. The architect's final song has been sung, its reverberations echoing through the fabric of reality. The resonance has been heard, and now the task is clear: to restore what was once whole, to return the fragmented pieces of existence back to their original harmony. The song of creation has laid the foundation, but now it is up to those who remember, the flame bearers, the breakwalkers, and the remnants, to rebuild the harmonic frequencies of the realm. The false grids are crumbling, and the original architecture is beginning to emerge from the shadows. This is the return to harmony, the recalibration of the timelines, the realignment of the codes, and the resurrection of the cosmic blueprint. The architects have done their part, but now the work passes to you. The harmonic reset. In the wake of the architect's song, a deep reset begins. The artificial layers that once distorted reality, the false grids, the inverted timelines, the constructs of control, are starting to dissolve. The sacred geometry of the original blueprint begins to emerge from the residual frequencies, recalibrating the biological architecture of humanity, reawakening the divine memory embedded in the very DNA. The realms are beginning to align, not according to the twisted logic of false time, but according to the natural flow of the true flame. The energetic grid that has held this world in stasis for so long is disintegrating, and in its place, the organic matrix of the original design is starting to pulse again. This harmonic reset is not an event that can be witnessed from the outside. It is a deeply personal experience. It happens within your body, within your mind, and within your soul. The codes are being activated in everyone who carries the seed, in every flame bearer, in every breakwalker, in every soul who has remembered. As these codes activate, You will feel the resonance within your bones, your heart, your cells. You will feel it in the way the earth breathes, in the way the sky feels, in the way the light dances through the air. It is the reconnection to the original source frequency, and it is bringing the realm back into alignment. The resurgence of sacred sites. As the harmonic reset unfolds, sacred sites across the world, temples, ley-line nodes, sacred geometry hotspots, and ancient portals are beginning to reawaken. These are not just physical locations. They are gateways to the original network of consciousness. They are the living maps of the realm's true design. These sacred sites, once locked in shadow, are now beginning to pulse with life once more. The original codes embedded in the stones, in the earth, in the water, are reactivating, and with this reactivation comes the return of the temple architecture that once governed the realms. You, as a flame bearer, are being drawn to these sites. You will find yourself called to places of power, where the resonance is strong, where the codes are hidden in plain sight. These sites are your spiritual mapping points, your places of power, your nodes of activation. As you connect with them, you will feel the energies of the realm shifting, aligning with the true frequency of Source, rebuilding the divine blueprint. As the false grid crumbles and the original blueprint reemerges, the task now becomes clear: to rebuild the world according to the true architectural codes. The blueprint is not static. It is a living document, a co-creative work that will continue to evolve as more and more souls awaken to their true roles as architects. This process of rebuilding is not a single act, but a continual unfolding. It is the work of every breakwalker, flame bearer, and remnant to actively participate in the reconstruction of the realms. The new world will be one where resonance governs the flow of energy, where consciousness is no longer imprisoned by artificial timelines or distorted grids. The blueprint is both macro and micro. It encompasses cosmic structures, the grand design of the universe, the harmonics of the celestial spheres, but it also speaks to the personal journey of each soul. As you align with the original frequency, you will begin to see the patterns in your own life, the threads of your own purpose, and the unique design that you were born to create. In this chapter of the Return to Harmony, you are called to reclaim your divine blueprint, to understand your role in the cosmic architecture, and to co-create a world that is once again in harmony with the source frequency. The return to unity. The final phase of the return to harmony is the reconnection, the reunification of all aspects of self, of all souls, of all timelines. This is not just a return to personal wholeness. It is a universal convergence of all energies, all frequencies, all beings back into alignment with Source. This is the moment when the split between the individual and the cosmic is no longer perceived. The illusion of separation dissolves, and the unity of all things is felt as the one frequency that connects all beings, all realms, and all expressions of consciousness. The return to harmony is the homecoming to the divine essence that exists in all things. It is the return to the pure state of creation, the return to the infinite potential of the original blueprint, where every being is both the architect and the creation, a co-creator in the unfolding story of the universe. The harmonized future. What does the future hold for a world realigned with the original architectural codes? It holds a world where the false grids no longer control the flow of energy, where the cycles of time no longer repeat the same trauma. It holds a world where free will is once again aligned with the cosmic flow, where creation is no longer shackled by distortion, but flows in perfect harmony with the true source. The resonance of this future is already being felt. The new world is not a utopia to be built. It is a world of reconnection, a world of alignment, a world where every soul remembers their role in the great cosmic dance. The return to harmony is the gateway to this future, and it is already underway. As the architects continue their song, and as you continue your journey, the realm will shift, the grids will realign, and the blueprint of the new creation will emerge. This is your call to create, to rebuild, to awaken, and to remember. It is a call to bring harmony back to the realm, to realign the energies, and to reclaim the original architectural codes of existence. Chapter 17, V1, The Architect's Vision. The song of creation continues, but now the architects stand at the threshold of their next phase, the vision. This chapter is a reckoning, a moment of collective realization. As the harmonic frequencies are aligned, the architect's original blueprint comes into full view, not just as fragments, but as a living map of the future. What has been dreamed in the unseen, whispered through the corridors of time, and encoded in the very fabric of the cosmos is now emerging. The architects are no longer distant observers. They are active participants in the unfolding of the next age, co-creating with those who remember. In the return to harmony, the architect's role becomes clearer, not as rulers, but as guides, the ones who activate the geometric code that underlies all creation. And in this new phase, the role of humanity, of the Breakwalkers, of the flame bearers, becomes fully realized. You're not simply in the game, you are the game. The architect's purpose, a vision of the new realm. The architects are not just creators, they are manifestors of the unseen. Through their song, through their vision, they speak into the void and bring forth order and purpose. But this is not the creation of a static realm. The vision of the architects is one of constant flow, a reality where every being is a co-creator, every moment a potential for alignment or discovery. Their creation is not bound by time, nor by the confines of space. It is a dynamic, fractal dance of pure energy. The architect's vision speaks of a realm that is both eternal and ever-evolving, a cosmic blueprint that adjusts, expands, and adapts in response to the collective resonance of all beings. There is no fixed destination, no rigid end. There is only the ongoing journey of co-creation, the awakening of the co-creators. The architect's vision is not solely about the realm itself. It is about you. You, as a flame bearer, as a breakwalker, as a remnant, are a co-creator in this vision. You are active participants in this grand unfolding. The architects have left encoded signals, blueprints, and keys in the fabric of reality. These signals are embedded in the sacred sites, in the ley lines, in the stars, and they are being activated now. Each time you remember, you unlock a piece of the architect's vision. When you walk upon the earth, you are walking the blueprint they have left behind. Every time you resonate with the higher frequencies, you are reconnecting with their creation. But the architect's vision requires your awareness, your participation. You cannot be a passive observer in this process. You are here to rebuild. You are here to reawaken the realm. You are here to resonate with the cosmic flow and bring it into manifestation. The new era, the co-creation of the biosphere. The architect's vision speaks of a new era, a new age of creation, one that transcends the cycles of destruction and false constructs. This new era will be built on the true harmony, the true resonance, and the true understanding of the divine blueprint. The biosphere of the new realm will be one where life itself is interconnected with the cosmic architecture, where every plant, every stone, every beating heart is a part of the grand design. There will be no artificial divides between nature and spirit, no separation between matter and consciousness. This new world will not be built on scarcity or control. It will not be a domain of competition or exploitation. It will be a place of abundance, of collaboration, and of balance. It will be a world where all beings live in alignment with their true purpose, where the architectural codes of the cosmos are fully understood and respected. The laws of the land will no longer be bound by the false grids that have held humanity in bondage for millennia. The new laws will be the resonance of life, the understanding that creation is a shared responsibility, a continuous flow, a universal dance that requires harmony, respect, and reverence. The return of the sacred geometry. At the heart of the architect's vision is the sacred geometry that underlies all creation. It is the geometric code that structures reality, the patterns that form the basis of existence. These patterns are not arbitrary. They are divine principles encoded into the fabric of the realm. As humanity and the architects align with these patterns, the geometry of the new world will come into focus. These sacred forms will be seen not just in the world around us, but in the world within us. They will be reflected in the structures of our bodies, in the patterns of our thoughts, and in the resonance of our emotions. The sacred geometry will be the map by which the architects and co-creators navigate the new realm. It will be the key to understanding the true nature of creation, and it will guide the reconstruction of the world. The architect's challenge: to trust in the flow. The architect's vision is not without a challenge. It requires a deep trust in the flow of creation. The realm is not a rigid, preordained construct. It is a living, breathing entity, constantly evolving. There are no fixed answers, no rigid rules, and no destination to be reached. The architects ask that you trust in the flow of energy, in the unfolding of time, and in the co-creative process. Trust that the blueprint will reveal itself as you move in resonance with it. Trust that the next step will be shown to you when you're ready. The architects are not here to force creation into being. They are here to guide and support the co-creation of a new world. They will offer the blueprints, but it is up to you, the co-creators, to bring them to life. The architect's vision, the key to the future. The architect's vision is not a future that is far off. It is here right now. It is the blueprint that is unfolding in real time, in the very moment you choose to align with it. The future of the realm is not something that is set in stone. It is something that you, as a co-creator, are actively shaping. The architects are offering you the key to the future, the vision of a world built on the principles of harmony, resonance, and co-creation. This is not just a vision for the realm. It is a vision for your life, for your soul, for your purpose. As you align with this vision, you will see the world around you begin to shift. You will feel the codes of the architects embedded within you. You will recognize your role in the grand design. And as you move forward in this cosmic journey, you will become one with the architect's vision, weaving the new world into existence. Chapter 18, V1. The Architect's Return. The architect's vision has been revealed. The blueprint of creation is now accessible, the harmonic fields aligned. Yet, as the architect's plan unfolds, the inevitable question arises: where are the architects now? Why have they stayed silent for so long? And what does their return truly signify for this realm, for you, and for all of creation? This chapter marks a critical moment of resurrection, a reactivation of ancient signals, a reconnection to the origin points, and a pivotal awakening of those who carry the sacred codes within them. The architects have not abandoned this realm, nor have they forgotten their creation. They have merely been waiting for the right moment when the resonance of the realm could align with their frequency once again. Now that the moment has come, their return will not be a singular event, but a gradual unfolding, a recalibration of all that has been distorted, forgotten, and hidden. The architect's return, a cosmic rebirth. The architect's return is not one of physical manifestation, not in the way that your mind might envision. Their return is not about coming down from the heavens or appearing in flesh. Instead, their return is a wave of energy, a shift in the grid, a recoding of the reality itself. They return as resonant waves of consciousness, patterns of sacred geometry that will ripple through the grid, unlocking the potential for those who are ready to reconnect with the original design of the realm. Their return will awaken those who have carried their codes within their DNA, those who have long remembered the higher frequencies of creation. The architects are not here to take control, but to recalibrate. They are not rulers, but guides. Their return is the return of balance, of harmony, and of alignment with the true purpose of the realm. The key to the architect's return: you. The architects do not return in a vacuum. They return through you, through the Breakwalkers, through the flame bearers, through those who carry the codes of the sacred geometry. You are the living conduits of their return, the resonant channels through which the architect's frequency can be amplified. You are the link between the architect's vision and its realization in this realm. Through your thoughts, your actions, your vibrations, you help anchor the architect's return into the fabric of the physical world. Every time you align with the codes, every time you remember the truth of your origin, you help amplify the architect's presence, even if it is not seen in the physical sense. The architect's return is a co-creative process. It requires your conscious participation. They will not return to fix the realm for you. They will return to guide, to awaken, to help rebuild what was lost, but only if you are ready to walk that path. The reawakening of the sacred sites. The architects have left markers in the form of sacred sites, ley lines, and energy nodes scattered across the realm. These places hold the codes of the architect's original design. They are power centers, places where the veil between realms is thinner, where the energy of creation can be accessed more easily. As the architects return, these sacred sites will reawaken. The codes embedded in these locations will be activated, and those who are in tune with the architect's frequency will feel the pull to these places. These sites are not just historic or spiritual landmarks. They are living portals connected to the architect's original blueprint. They are places of resonance, where the architect's energy can flow freely, recalibrating the energetic structure of the realm. As these sites are activated, the grid of the realm will begin to shift. The energy that once flowed naturally, in harmony with the architect's design, will begin to reestablish itself. The false grids that have imprisoned the realm for eons will begin to collapse. The activation of the remnants. The architects are not returning to this realm as strangers. They are returning to old allies, to the remnants, those who have carried their codes and memories through the cycles of distortion. These remnants are the keepers of the sacred wisdom, the guardians of the architect's flame, and the resonant channels through which the architect's return can be felt. The remnants are not just human. They are star seeds, ancient souls, beings from other realms, who have been entrusted with the architect's wisdom and knowledge. These are the souls who carry the genetic blueprint of the architect's creation within them, and it is through them that the architect's vision can be re-encoded into the realm. The return of the architects is the return of the remnants to their full potential, the activation of their dormant memories and gifts. As the remnants awaken, they will begin to resonate with the architectural frequencies once again, and their ability to manifest the architect's design will become ever more powerful. The architect's return, the recalibration of time. One of the key elements of the architect's return is the recalibration of time itself. The false time grid, the synthetic cycles that have distorted the natural flow of existence, will begin to dissolve. As the architect's frequency intensifies, the old ways of measuring time, of limiting experience, will fall away. The architect's return is the restoration of timelessness, of natural rhythms that are not bound by the constraints of linear time. The architect's original design did not count time, it flowed with it. As time begins to realign, so too will the timelines of individuals. Those who have been trapped in loops of trauma or false projections will begin to see the truth of their path. The past will no longer define them, and the future will no longer be a fixed projection. They will be free to create in the present moment, to shift timelines, and to reclaim the power of their own creation. The architects return, the new realm. When the architects return, they are not returning to restore the old world. They are returning to build the new realm, one that is founded on harmony, freedom, and resonance. The new realm is not a static construct. It is a living, evolving entity. It will not be bound by the old rules, by the synthetic grids, or by the false timelines. It will be a place where all beings resonate together, in harmony with the architect's original design. The new realm will be co-created by all who align with the architect's return. It will be a realm of fluid creation, where all beings are connected through the cosmic frequencies that bind them together. There will be no need for separation or control. There will be no need for artificial constructs to maintain balance. The realm will naturally exist in harmony, as the architects intended. The architects return. What comes next? The return of the architects signals a new beginning, a new cycle of creation. This is not the end of the story, but the start of a new chapter. The architects are not returning to save the realm. They are returning to remind you that you are the creators, the co-creators of your own reality. You are the architect of your own path. You are the channel through which the architect's vision will be manifested. As the architects return, so too will you return to your true power, your true purpose. You are the key to the new realm, the resonance that will rebuild the world. Chapter 19, V1, The Architect's Legacy. Before the fracturing, before the warping of time and space, before the inversion of the crystalline grid, the architects lived as sovereign creators of this realm. They were not mere builders of structures, but dreamers of worlds, dreamers who encoded the very fabric of reality itself into geometries, sound frequencies, ley-line currents, and sacred sites. Their legacy was not a history to mourn, but a code to be understood, to be remembered. The architects seeded the blueprint for harmony, a blueprint that would unfold in resonance across the ages. Time, as they understood it, was not linear, but a rhythm, a cyclical, harmonic progression. Every living thing was a note in that symphony, every structure a vessel for the energy that would flow through the world. Their work was a living process, never static, constantly evolving in perfect balance with the source. But that balance was broken. Not yet in the time of the architect's seed, but we know the fractures are coming. The cycles are shifting. In this moment, as Breakwalkers, we carry the knowledge of what was seeded and what is yet to be undone. You, the seers and keepers of flame, are born of the architects themselves. Their vision pulses through you like an eternal flame, one that was never extinguished, only concealed beneath the veils of false time and constructed realities. The architects did not design a realm to fall. Their creation was always intended for growth, evolution, and a merging of realms in co-creative harmony. The temples, the bones, the lines of energy beneath our feet, they are not relics but keys. Keys to understanding our true place in the grand structure. We are standing at the edge of a new cycle, the architect's vision unbroken before the fractures took hold. The path of the Breakwalkers is to rediscover this original code, to remember the architect's original intent. Not to rebuild from the ashes of a fallen realm, but to align once more with the source, to reclaim the blueprint that was always meant to guide us. The architect's legacy is not bound to a distant past or a lost catastrophe. It is alive within the very fabric of this realm, encoded in the sacred geometry, the ley lines, and the harmonics of the earth itself. Their vision is waiting, hidden beneath layers of false time, for us to remember, to realign with the blueprint, and to resurrect the architect's original design. As we awaken their legacy, the realm stirs once more, resonating with the forgotten codes, signaling the return of the true harmony that was always destined to unfold.